Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. And I am starting off the Monday Night Raw review early. The show is still going on, and we are seeing Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. Once again, a rematch from last night. Who gives a shit? Who fucking cares? I'm not watching this match, because Monday Night Raw tonight, it's from American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. And it's the first Monday Night Raw in front of fans again. And my God, this show tonight fucking sucks. It is absolutely boring. We had two former NXT superstars buried tonight. One is going to be part of the Monday Night Raw roster. And I'm like, rest in peace to his career. Rest in peace to his WWE career. Unbelievable what Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard has fucking done. But what do we get on the show? We had Matt Riddle and the Viking Raiders versus John Morrison, Styles, and Omos. 6-man tag. We had a Symphony of Destruction match. Jaxson, Ryker versus Elias. Hopefully, this is the last we see of Jaxson, Ryker, and Elias. Move on from this feud. We had Sheamus versus Humberto Carrillo once again. And then we have Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship. Another rematch, and we saw it last night. And I am not watching this match. This match is happening now. Fuck it. I'm not watching it. But if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded earlier today, my Money in the Bank review is up, so definitely give that a watch if you guys haven't seen it. Money in the Bank was a good show last night, and I can't believe we went from a good show in Money in the Bank back to shit with Monday Night Raw. Can't believe it. I mean, Monday Night Raw every single week is nothing but shit. We all know it. So, let's get on with the review. Like I said, starting this review early because I don't give a shit about this god-awful show tonight. So, Monday Night Raw opened up with John Cena. John Cena got a big pop from the Dallas crowd, and this is the only best thing on Monday Night Raw tonight, was John Cena's promo. So John Cena got hyped while he was on the stage. He rushed to the ring. Mike Rome introduced him. So John Cena, of course, like I said, he was hyped. Cena ended up getting on the mic, and he ended up telling the rest of the crowd to get in their seats, to find a seat. So he ended up pointing out that a fan is celebrating his birthday in the crowd. And Cena ended up saying that he came to see the fans and that he missed this. It's been a year since, we last saw fans, before pre-COVID. So Cena ended up saying that he loves the confusion. He loves the chaos and also the electricity. So he ended up pointing out the chants for him. He said people are chanting, welcome back. People are chanting, let's go Cena. People are chanting, Cena sucks. He ended up saying that everyone is live and is here. He also went on about how loud the crowd is, and then the crowd ended up popping for Cena again. So Cena ended up calling it deafening, electric. And he said, Monday Night Raw, it's from Dallas, Texas. So Cena ended up saying that he's here to explain himself after his return last night at Money in the Bank. He ended up saying that he showed up and ruined the celebration of Roman Reigns. So fans were booing Reigns. He ended up joking about the various reactions from Reigns and Paul Heyman, also Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. So Cena ended up going on about how we can finally get together and cheer. And he ended up saying that the fans bought him back. And so did Roman. Cena ended up saying that he's here for the Universal Championship. So Cena ended up saying, where is SummerSlam? It's going to be at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. He ended up saying, here's where it gets interesting. So Cena ended up mentioning headlining a record-breaking SummerSlam event, a record-breaking 7-time championship win. And it's not because of any of that. And Cena ended up saying that it's because Roman is a asshole, which they end up muting on TV. They muted the asshole from Cena. So fans were chanting asshole. Cena ended up saying that he believes Roman needs to be knocked down a peg. Cena ended up saying that this pathetic Roman experience has gone on long enough. So Cena ended up calling Reigns an arrogant, self-absorbed, overhyped, overprotected, overexposed gimmick who's not as over as he says he is. So Cena ended up talking about how if you're really that good, the people will acknowledge you. So Cena ended up saying that, Reigns, he ends up saying that Reigns, if he's that great, if Reigns is great, the fans will tell you. So Cena ended up saying that he will be at SmackDown on Friday and that he can't wait to see Roman. Of course, Cena is a free agent. He could appear on Raw or SmackDown. So Cena ended up saying, let's get to business now. So then out came Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle came out on a scooter. So Riddle ended up coming into the ring. He ended up kicking his flip-flops off. Pyro happened. We saw the stupid CGI birds. So Cena and Riddle, they were doing a bro exchange on the mic. So Riddle was going bro. Cena was going bro. And both of them in the end just go, bro. It was just fucking random. So Riddle ended up liking that. And that was that. That was how the other segment ended. But this is the only good thing on Monday Night Raw, with John Cena making a promo and talking about Roman, calling Roman an asshole. So there's your build for SummerSlam for Cena and Roman. Match is going to happen at SummerSlam. So it was a good segment with John Cena. The crowd really loves to see Cena back. And then after that, we went to a 6-man tag. We had Matt Riddle and the Viking Raiders versus John Morrison and Styles and Omos. And this was just a very meh match, in my opinion. So we had John Morrison end up coming out with The Miz. So Morrison ended up having Mike Rome re-announce him as America's Most Wanted. And that he has a new shirt to match it. I'm like, who would buy that shirt? Who would buy it? Who would even buy the dripsticks or the dipsticks? What is all this about, dripsticks and moist? I guess Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard love being moist. So Miz ended up squirting water at Byron Saxton, Corey Graves, and Jimmy Smith. So Eric and Ivar, they were in the ring with Matt Riddle. Styles and Omos were also out there. Match started off with Styles and Riddle going at it. Styles ended up dropping Riddle Riddle ended up delivering a kick to Styles and delivered a back body drop to Styles. Styles ended up tagging in John Morrison. Miz was being annoying on the outside, hyping up Morrison. Morrison ended up catching a kick from Riddle, but Riddle ended up countering it and delivered a takedown into a submission. Matt Riddle and John Morrison were tangling. Morrison delivered some strikes to Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle ended up delivering a knee to Morrison. They were trading some offense. Riddle delivered a exploder suplex to Morrison, went for the cover, which Morrison kicked out at 2. Eric ended up coming in. He leveled Morrison with the knee. Ivar then came in, and the Viking Raiders ended up doing a double team on John Morrison. Eric then slammed Ivar on top of Morrison, went for the cover, which Morrison kicked out at 2. Matt Riddle ended up coming back in, started kicking Morrison as Ivar ended up holding him. Styles then came in. Riddle ended up kicking Styles. Morrison then ended up dropping Riddle. Morrison then dumped Eric and Ivar over the top rope out to the floor. And Morrison then launched himself over the top rope. And both Eric and Ivar end up catching him. And they double teamed on Morrison. Styles ran the ropes. And he leapt out of the ring. And he was assisted from Omos. And Styles ended up taking out the Viking Raiders, both Eric and Ivar, at ringside. It's the same move that Styles did last night at Money in the Bank, where he had an assist from Omos. So Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, Omos was dominating Matt Riddle in the middle of the ring. Omos sent Riddle into the corner, delivered a backsplash to Riddle. So Riddle then fell to the mat. He wasn't moving after the effect of the splash from Omos. Omos ended up tagging Styles back in. So Styles ended up stopping Riddle from tagging in. He ended up dropping him on his head for a close 2 count. Morrison came back in to take over on Matt Riddle. Riddle then fought back. In came Styles. Riddle ended up dropping Styles to get an open, to tag in Eric, which Eric ended up coming in. Eric started unloading on Styles with some strikes, delivered a running knee to Styles' face. Styles then ended up blocking a suplex from Eric, and he delivered a knee to Eric's head. So Styles then came right back, delivered a Pele kick, and dropped Eric. Both Eric and Styles were down. So there was a point later on in the match where Matt Riddle ended up grabbing the dripstick, or the dipstick as I would call it, from The Miz, and he ended up spraying Omos in the back with it. Omos then turned around. He saw The Miz with the dripstick. So Miz was pleading with Omos. He ended up backing up the ramp in his wheelchair. Morrison ended up trying to save The Miz, but Omos ended up launching Morrison into the ropes. So Miz continued pleading with Omos, and the Viking Raiders ended up double teaming on John Morrison. Eric and Ivar delivered the Viking experience on John Morrison. Eric ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Matt Riddle and the Viking Raiders ended up winning the match. Overall, the match was just meh, in my opinion. Let me see this, what happened here. So it looks like Rhea Ripley won the match by count out, maybe. Yeah, and Charlotte's still the women's champion. Who gives a shit? Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? Enough of that. So, yeah, Rhea Ripley just came in, just attacked Charlotte. She got up. Who cares? So, back to the review. We had Riddle and the Viking Raiders. They ended up celebrating post-match. and Styles and Omos end up looking on from ringside. Oh, and here comes Nikki A.S.H or A.S.H going to cash in the briefcase. Oh, and she's cashing it in. See where this goes. Yeah, she's cashing it in. She's on the top rope. And she did a crossbody onto Charlotte. And there you go. Nikki A.S.H ends up winning the title, the Raw Women's Championship. Do I care? Meh. It's meh to me. So, there you go. Nikki A.S.H or A.S.H is the new Raw Women's Championship. Is the new Raw Women's Champion. So there you go. That was coming at you right now as I am filming the review. So there you go. Nikki A.S.H is your new Raw Women's Champion. So then we saw Jaxson Ryker backstage, and he was staring into the camera. We saw his win over the strap match that he had with Elias from 3 weeks ago, which was a boring match. So Ryker ended up smirking. He ended up saying, wait until we see what he does to Elias tonight. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, Elias was in the ring. Elias ended up saying that there is a truth that will last forever. And then, of course, he delivers, I'm going to tell you what WWE stands for. Walk with Elias. Who gives a shit? So Jaxson Ryker then interrupted from the screen. Ryker ended up saying that he will interrupt Elias now as everyone else has. Ryker then ended up saying that everyone is sick and tired of Elias always introducing himself. And I think we've all been sick and tired of Elias introducing himself for years since Elias has been on the main roster. It has become stale and old. Whenever Elias goes, hello, I am Elias. What does WWE stand for? I said, what does WWE stand for? It has gotten stale and old. It's the same shit whenever he's out there. So Ryker ended up saying that after tonight, we will no longer have to hear the hello, I am Elias line again. So then we had Elias versus Jaxson Ryker, Symphony of Destruction match. Hopefully this match was the last of Elias and Jaxson Ryker. I don't want to see them feud anymore or have this feud continue. So Jaxson Ryker made his way down. Of course, there was instruments all over ringside because this is a Symphony of Destruction match where you have instruments set up at ringside. And this match was boring, in my opinion. This was a boring match. Match ended up starring both Elias and Jaxson Ryker went at it. Ryker got some offense in the match early on. Elias ended up tossing him out of the ring, out to the floor. Elias ended up going for a guitar, an electric guitar. Ryker ended up attacking him. Ryker then ended up beating Elias around with a keyboard. And Ryker then dropped Elias on the ground, went for the cover, which Elias ended up kicking out too. Elias then ended up fighting back. He started beating Jaxson Ryker up with a part of drums, with a part of a set of drums. So Elias then tossed the piece in the ring. Ryker ended up taking advantage, and he ended up tossing Elias into the rest of the drums. Ryker was talking trash while he was beating Elias up. Ryker then ended up grabbing a guitar, a wooden guitar. He leapt off the apron with it, but Elias ended up catching him in midair, delivered a knee to Jaxson Ryker. Elias went for the cover, which Ryker ended up kicking out at 2. So Elias ended up charging at ringside to Jaxson Ryker, but Ryker ended up sidestepping, and he ended up sending Elias into the gong. There was a gong that was out there, and Elias went right into it. Ryker then ended up grabbing another wooden guitar. He ended up kicking Elias in the gut, smashed the guitar over Elias's back. So Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, both Ryker and Elias were back in the ring. Elias ended up dropping Ryker with an elbow. He was delivering some chops to Ryker. Ryker ended up fighting back, started delivering some rights and lefts to Elias. Elias tossed Ryker out to the floor. Ryker then ended up blocking shots into the ring post, and he sent Elias face first into the ring post. Ryker grabbed another wooden guitar. He jabbed Elias in the gut with the guitar. Elias tried to use parts of the drum kit, but Ryker ended up beating Elias against the barricade. So we had Ryker end up trying to slam Elias face first into a lid of the piano, but he ended up blocking it. Ryker then ended up slamming Elias, which Elias ended up getting up. He started charging at Ryker, but Ryker ended up countering. He ended up slamming Elias onto the top of the piano, and he closed the lid. Ryker ended up pinning Elias on top of the piano, but Elias ended up kicking out at 2. Ryker climbed on top of the piano, and with Elias up there, they would trade shots. Elias ended up dropping Ryker on top of the piano, went for the cover, which Ryker ended up kicking out at 2. It was back and forth between the both of them. Elias delivered a cello shot over Ryker's back. Elias went for the cover, which Ryker kicked out at 2. So at the end of the match, we had Ryker end up delivering a superplex from the corner, and he put Elias through the table. There was 2 tables that were set up there. So Ryker went for the cover. There you go. Jaxson Ryker ended up winning the match. And during this match, the crowd was dead. This crowd did not give a shit about this match. And they don't give a shit about this feud between Ryker and Elias. So Ryker was staring ahead, and Elias was shown laid out. This was after the match. And that was that. But hopefully this is it for Ryker and Elias. I don't want to see another match between the both of them. Just move on. Vince and Bruce, move on from this. Get Jaxson Ryker and Elias off my TV. So then we saw Mansoor. Mansoor was backstage with Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. He was talking about he and Mustafa Ali teaming up next week. So Mustafa Ali ended up walking up, and Sonya Deville ended up revealing the plans for next week. So Mustafa Ali ended up saying that he never said anything about teaming up with Mansoor next week, and that he knew nothing about it. So Mansoor ended up talking about Mustafa Ali trying to teach him lessons, and says, what better way than to stand next to him in a match? So Mustafa Ali then ended up agreeing to the match. He ended up telling Mansoor for him to not screw this up. So then Sheamus walked in. Sheamus was complaining about Humberto Carrillo and why he has to face Humberto again after beating him last week. So Sonya Deville ended up saying that it's only fair to give Humberto a chance to earn a title match. So pretty much that was that. And then we had, I'm going to quote this. This is what Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville ended up saying. They ended up saying that we don't give handouts on Raw. And I just laughed at that because we don't give handouts on Raw. Look at all the rematches. Look at all the rematches that they're giving us. Handout. We don't give handouts. Fucking bullshit. So laughable. Don't give handouts on Raw. You kidding me? Like I said, look at all the rematches. Look, they gave Humberto like how many chances already to face Sheamus for the United States Championship? We don't give handouts on Raw. Can you believe that shit? Such bullshit. And then we had Charlotte Flair come out for her championship coronation. Her championship boronation, because a lot of people are probably picking up the remotes and changing the channel to see what else was on. So Charlotte ended up saying that this feels so good and that she is so proud to be standing here as your queen. I'm so proud to be picking up my remote, muting the TV, or changing the channel to see what else is on while you talk. So she ended up going on about how the past year hasn't been good to us, and that she is here now, and she is our opportunity. No, she is not our opportunity. So Charlotte ended up ripping Rhea Ripley as a snake and an opportunist. She ended up saying that Ripley can do as many of her moves as she wants, but she will never measure up to the original. Charlotte ended up saying that we won't believe the outpour of texts. So fans were chanting for Becky, and Charlotte was like, yes, Becky is at home breastfeeding while she is here dominating the women's division. So Charlotte then went back to talking about all the messages she received last night. She ended up saying that the win makes her the one-time and final Divas champion, and also a 5-time Raw Women's champion and 5-time SmackDown Women's champion, making her 11-time Women's champion in WWE. So Charlotte ended up going on about how she can beat Rhea Ripley any night of the week. And this is typical WWE. Whenever a superstar says, oh, I could beat this one any night of the week, you already know that that match with that superstar and that other superstar is going to officially happen. So Charlotte ended up saying that she had the opportunity, she beat Rhea Ripley. So then Rhea Ripley ended up coming out. Rhea Ripley got into the ring. She ended up asking Charlotte if she thinks she can beat her any night of the week. So Rhea Ripley was like, why not tonight? So Charlotte ended up saying that Rhea Ripley is in no shape to fight after what she did to her knee last night. So Charlotte then mocked Rhea Ripley for how she was hurting last night. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville end up interrupting from the stage. Of course, Sonya Deville had to congratulate Charlotte on the incredible accomplishment of winning the Raw Women's Championship. So then Sonya ended up bringing up what Charlotte just said about beating Rhea Ripley on any night. So Adam Pearce then made the match official. So we had a rematch with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte, which took place later on in the night, which was the main event. So Charlotte ended up delivering a cheap shot to Rhea Ripley. She ended up kicking Rhea Ripley's knee out, the injured knee of Rhea Ripley. Charlotte ended up going to ringside. Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce ended up checking on Rhea Ripley from the floor. While Ripley was down, she was clutching her knee. And that was basically that. But awful segment. Whenever Charlotte opens her mouth, you just got to mute the TV or change the channel to something else. It is absolutely disgusting how this company awards Charlotte with everything. Title opportunity after title opportunity after title opportunity after title opportunity. And she doesn't have to compete or prove that she could get another shot at the title. She's just hand-given. She's hand-given an opportunity. instead of competing for an opportunity at the title. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting how this company gives this woman everything just to make her father happy because she's a Flair. So then we had Natalya and Tamina versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Number 1 contenders match. This was boring. We've seen Natalya, Tamina, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler go at it before. How many fucking times? We had Reginald out there. So Shayna Baszler was going at it with Natalya. Nia Jax ended up watching from the apron. Shayna Baszler ended up leveling Natalya with a knee. She went for the cover, which Natalya kicked out too. So Nia Jax ended up driving Tamina into the barricade with the Samoan drop. So if Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler won this match, they will earn a title shot. They will earn a women's tag team title shot against Natalya and Tamina. So Nia Jax ended up tagging in. She ended up splashing Natalya in the corner. We had Tamina return to the apron from the Samoan drop, delivered by Nia Jax. Natalya ended up dropping Shayna Baszler. Tamina ended up coming in. Tamina knocked Nia Jax off the apron. Shayna Baszler ended up rolling her up for a 2 count. So Tamina ended up going up to the top, and Reginald ended up distracting her from the apron, which allowed Shayna Baszler to bring Tamina down. Natalya ended up going for Reginald, but Tamina ended up super kicking Shayna Baszler as she got distracted by Reginald. Tamina went for the cover on Shayna Baszler. And there you go. Natalya and Tamina ended up winning the match. Once again, Shayna Baszler gets pinned. Shayna Baszler, I don't understand why this woman keeps getting pinned. So post-match, Shayna Baszler was fed up with Reginald. She had words with Nia Jax and Reginald. So fans were chanting for Shayna Baszler to get away from Nia Jax. But Nia Jax ended up suddenly turning on Reginald. She ended up headbutting Reginald, and Nia Jax was talking some trash. Shayna Baszler ended up saying that she warned Reginald. So Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax ended up heading to the back. Fans were chanting, "Reggie sucks," which that was good on the fans because they don't like Reginald. Who likes Reginald? So then we had the circus come out. It got worse because we had the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title featured, where Akira Tozawa ended up running to the ring. He was being chased by the Lucha House Party, among others. It was a whole fucking circus, as always. So he ended up standing tall, started taunting them. Reginald came from behind. He ended up pinning Akira Tozawa for the title. And there you go. Reginald is the new Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 champion. So Reginald ended up flipping around, doing Circus Soleil stuff as he's doing. Started posing on the stage with the title. Awful. Absolutely fucking awful. We have Reginald as the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 champion. Can we take this fucking title off of TV already? It's getting old already. Please, retire this awful, shitty title known as the 24/7 title. Absolutely awful. I mean, to be honest, I forgot to mention this earlier in the video. This was one of the worst booked Monday Night Raws ever. This might be the worst Raw of the year. So, had to throw that out there. So then we had Sheamus versus Humberto Carrillo. Number 1 contenders match. So if Humberto Carrillo end up pinning Sheamus, he gets a shot at Sheamus again for the United States Championship. So Sheamus was waiting in the ring. He was wearing his mask. It was black mask. So Humberto Carrillo ended up coming out to try to earn a shot at the United States Championship if he beats Sheamus. So the match ended up starting. Humberto Carrillo ended up attacking at Sheamus. Sheamus ended up on the floor. Humberto Carrillo ended up launching himself out for a takedown. Carrillo ended up beating Sheamus around. Sheamus came back and dropped Humberto Carrillo as they came back into the ring. Carrillo ended up fighting off a suplex attempt from Sheamus from the apron, which Carrillo ended up dropping Sheamus over the top rope. Carrillo then delivered a top rope crossbody to Sheamus, went for the cover, which Sheamus kicked out at 2. So Sheamus ended up throwing some strikes, but Humberto Carrillo started unloading on Sheamus in the corner. He was stomping away at Sheamus. Damian Priest was shown watching backstage. Humberto Carrillo ended up continuing to dominate on Sheamus in the corner. Carrillo then tried to pull Sheamus's mask off. Sheamus was fighting back, and he ended up getting dumped over the top rope out to the floor. So Sheamus then later on tried to deliver a powerbomb to Humberto Carrillo on the edge of the apron. So Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, Sheamus was dominating on Humberto Carrillo. He was grounding Carrillo. He ended up applying the Dublin Smile on Carrillo. So at the end of the match, we had Sheamus end up winning, deliver the Brogue Kick to Humberto Carrillo. There you go. Sheamus went for the cover, and Sheamus ended up winning the match. Overall, we've seen Sheamus and Humberto Carrillo go at it, many times already. What was so different in this match than in any of the other matches that they had previously? Like I said, it's the same shit. So then we had Bobby Lashley end up coming out. Bobby Lashley and MVP made their way out as Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, Lashley was on the mic. Lashley ended up saying that he did all the talking he needed to do last night when he destroyed Kofi Kingston. So he was like, no more talking. MVP then took the mic. He was taunting the Dallas crowd for being fans of the Cowboys. He ended up going on about how Bobby Lashley made a statement at the expense of Kofi last night. MVP ended up talking about how Kofi's recent words on Bobby Lashley going soft actually fired up Bobby Lashley. So MVP was like, whoever answers Bobby Lashley's open challenge will be annihilated. So MVP ended up declaring that no one will take the WWE Championship from Bobby Lashley. So he was like, no more woman, no more champagne, no more fun and games. And MVP ended up saying that they are back to business. So Lashley ended up asking, who's going to be the one to answer this challenge? My open challenge. So then fans were chanting Goldberg because Goldberg was going to appear on Raw. So it wasn't Goldberg that answered Lashley's open challenge. It was Keith Lee. So Keith Lee made his return to Monday Night Raw tonight after being out for 7 months. He's been out since January and has been on TV since. So Keith Lee ended up making his return. And Lashley was shocked at Keith Lee making his return. Keith Lee ended up heading to the ring, got a big pop from the crowd, which was in his hometown. So Keith Lee ended up coming into the ring. He ended up facing off with Bobby Lashley as Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Bobby Lashley versus Keith Lee. Open challenge for the WWE Championship. This was just a very meh match, in my opinion. So Lashley and Keith Lee were staring each other down. They end up blocking up, and they end up tangling into the ropes. They end up breaking and lock back up. Lashley was mounting some offense on Keith Lee. Keith Lee then overpowered on Bobby Lashley, rammed him into the corner, and then rammed Lashley again into the opposite corner. Keith Lee was mounting some offense on Lashley. Keith Lee delivered a big crossbody onto Bobby Lashley. Lashley then blocked the Spirit Bomb attempt from Keith Lee. He ended up dropping Keith Lee on his face. Lashley was working on Keith Lee over on the ropes. MVP was taunting him. Lashley ended up mounting some more offense, delivered a run shoulder thrust to Keith Lee in the corner. Lashley then ended up sending Keith Lee to the floor with a clothesline. Keith Lee landed on his feet, but he was very dazed. So at the end of the match, Bobby Lashley ended up waiting for Keith Lee to get back up. And Bobby Lashley then delivered a spear to Keith Lee, went for the cover, and there you go. Bobby Lashley ended up winning the match, retaining the WWE Championship. Post-match, Bobby Lashley ended up standing tall, and out came Goldberg. Goldberg got a pop from the crowd. Lashley looked scared. He had a scared look on his face. So Goldberg then ended up coming out to the ring. He ended up getting in Bobby Lashley's face. Goldberg ended up declaring to Bobby Lashley that he is next. So Lashley ended up wanting to fight Goldberg, and MVP ended up holding him back. And that was that. But you bring Keith Lee back after he's been out since January. You bring him back just for him to job to Bobby Lashley. Awful. Keith Lee continues to be buried, even after coming back after being out since January. So then, we saw MVP backstage. This was after Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial. MVP was backstage with Bobby Lashley. Kevin Patrick ended up approaching them, and he ended up asking if they have a response. MVP ended up saying that Goldberg disrespected them, and they won't even dignify what he did. And that was that. But we're going to be getting Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg at SummerSlam, a match nobody wanted to see. We don't want to see Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg. Who asked for it? So then even more torture. We had Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal was in the ring. He was in the ring with his goons, Veer and Shanky. Jinder ended up saying that today is his birthday. And it gets even better as Drew McIntyre is not Mr. Money in the Bank. So we saw Jinder end up showing us how Veer and Shanky interrupted his match against Drew McIntyre 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, and how they triple teamed on Drew McIntyre. We also saw how Jinder ended up thoughting that he had McIntyre's sword last week, and that it was just a replica. And then we saw how Drew McIntyre ended up destroying Jinder's motorcycle, which we also saw last week. So Jinder ended up talking about how karma always comes back around. So he then showed us the footage of what happened last night at Money in the Bank, where Veer and Shanky ended up attacking Drew, and Jinder ended up hitting chair shots to McIntyre, and how they end up dragging McIntyre to the back, how they pulled him out of the Money in the Bank match last night. So Jinder ended up saying that he can buy 10 motorcycles, but McIntyre will never have a WWE Championship shot as long as Bobby Lashley is the WWE Champion. So Jinder then ended up allowing Shanky to sing him happy birthday. And this segment was awful. It really was. McIntyre ended up appearing from behind with a chair. He ended up taking Jinder Mahal down with a chair shot to his back. McIntyre then ended up taking out Veer with the chair. And Shanky was pleading with Drew McIntyre. So Drew McIntyre then unloaded some chair shots onto Shanky. So Jinder and Veer end up yelling from the ramp. Fans were like, one more time to Drew McIntyre, because the chair was bent after McIntyre was hitting those chair shots to Shanky. So he ended up tossing that chair away. He went and reached for another chair. He bought it in the ring. Drew McIntyre was staring at Jinder, and he started unloading on Shanky with more chair shots. He ended up hitting 20 chair shots to Shanky's back. And that was basically that, though. But there you go. They're setting you up for Jinder Mahal versus Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. Who the hell wants to see that match? Awful. And like I said, this segment was fucking awful. And then we had Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross making his debut on Monday Night Raw. He's the NXT champion. Karrion Kross versus Jeff Hardy. Karrion Kross, already he's dead on arrival on the main roster, because there was talks about how, they gave Karrion Kross a tryout to be on the main roster. He had a match on Main Event, and there was always talks about, Karrion Kross is coming up to the main roster. We're going to have, Scarlett come up. We're going to give her a tryout to be on the main roster. We're going to have Bronson Reed. There was talk about Bronson Reed having a tryout to get up on the main roster. So Karrion Kross was shown on Monday Night Raw tonight. They ended up changing his entrance. No Scarlett. I mean, how the hell you not have Scarlett when she's part of Karrion Kross? She's dating Karrion Kross. And how do you not have her be with Karrion? They changed up his whole entrance. It was very generic. When you see Karrion Kross's entrance in NXT with Scarlett, it was just awesome. There. Actually gave Karrion some depth whenever he made his way into the ring. And they did not do the smoke fog that they did down there. So they took away that part of his entrance. So Karrion Kross feels like everyone else on the main roster. He's dead on arrival on the main roster. So he was facing Jeff Hardy. So Jeff Hardy ended up coming out to his old theme, which was cool, which was awesome to hear his old theme. So the bell ended up ringing. Karrion Kross ended up dominating on Jeff Hardy. Kross ended up launching Jeff Hardy with an overhead suplex. He ended up delivering another suplex to Jeff Hardy. Kross ended up yelling at Jeff Hardy about owning him. Delivered another suplex. Kross ended up charging at Jeff Hardy, but Jeff Hardy ended up moving out of the way. Karrion Kross ended up hitting the ring post. Jeff Hardy ended up dropping Karrion Kross with a twist of fate. Jeff Hardy went to the top, delivered a swanton bomb, which Karrion Kross ended up moving out of the way. So Karrion Kross was waiting in the corner. He was waiting for Jeff Hardy to get up. Karrion Kross ended up charging with a forearm. Jeff Hardy ended up ducking and grabbing Kross. Kross ended up backing Jeff Hardy into the corner with some back elbows. Karrion Kross ended up mounting Jeff Hardy in the corner, but Jeff Hardy ended up powerbombing Karrion Kross, and he went for the cover, and there you go. Jeff Hardy ended up winning the match. Are you fucking kidding me? Karrion Kross comes up on his first night on Raw. Comes up and loses to Jeff Hardy. Karrion Kross is already fucking buried. Like I said, he's dead on arrival. They change up his entrance, and no Scarlet. This guy is going to feel like everyone else on the main roster. And it is sad. Will not be surprised if he drops the NXT Championship tomorrow night. Rest in peace, Karrion Kross's WWE career. Already Vince and Bruce fucking buried him. So, Kevin Patrick ended up interviewing Karrion Kross post-match. And Kevin Patrick ended up asking Karrion Kross his thoughts on what happened. Karrion Kross ended up telling Kevin Patrick that Jeff Hardy just made the biggest mistake of his life. Because in the end, everyone will fall and pray. So Karrion Kross ended up making his way out of the ring, grabbed the NXT Championship, and headed to the back. Karrion Kross, tick-tock. Your WWE career is almost up. If Vince and Bruce continue to bury the hell out of you. I would plead to Triple H down there and just plead with him to keep you down there. If I was Karrion Kross, I would go to Triple H and tell Triple H, please keep me down here. Don't demote me to the main roster because I know Vince and Bruce are going to bury me. That's what I would have did if I was Karrion Kross. God, we see what they did to Karrion Kross tonight. Can you all imagine once Adam Cole gets brought up to the main roster? I'm even scared to think about that. So then we had Alexa Bliss backstage. Alexa Bliss, we had another Alexa's Playground. Alexa ended up saying that she admits that she's sore from Money in the Bank. And that's okay. Because she had a special guest. And her guest was Lily. Lily was sitting on the swing next to her, fresh out of timeout. So she ended up saying that things got out of control last time. And that Lily has promised to be on her best behavior. And then lo and behold, Eva Marie and Donut Drop, interrupt Alexa Bliss. So Eva Marie ended up asking if this is a joke, and thought Doudrop tossing Alexa Bliss around last week would have taught her a lesson. And so Alexa Bliss goes, "Hi, Doudrop. Doudrop." So Doudrop ended up saying hello back. Eva Marie ended up telling her not to. So Eva Marie ended up threatening to have Doudrop trash Lily in a trash can. So Eva Marie ended up saying that she doesn't want to waste her time with Alexa Bliss or Lily. So Eva ended up falling down as she went to walk off. So apparently Alexa Bliss had some power to make Eva Marie fall down, or maybe it was Lily. Who knows? But that was that. Terrible. And then we had the main event, which was Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte for the Raw Women's Championship. Did not give a shit about this match. Rhea Ripley ended up winning by disqualification, which I said count out earlier, but it was disqualification. So Charlotte ended up retaining the title. Who cares? And then, of course, we had Nikki A.S.H come out, cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase, went to the top, delivered a crossbody on Charlotte, went for the cover, and Nikki A.S.H is the new Raw Women's Champion. Meh. That's all I gotta say. And that was how Monday Night Raw went off the air tonight. Overall, absolutely terrible show. One of the worst booked Monday Night Raws ever. Possibly one of the worst Raws of the year. The only thing good about this Raw was the John Cena promo. That was it. Everything else, just meh. It was rematches. Who cares? And next week we're going to see the Viking Raiders get another shot at Styles and Omos. Enough with the rematches. Anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And be sure to give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all Wednesday night for night 2 of Fyter Fest with AEW Dynamite. So until then, see you all Wednesday night.